Hi, this is Faith, and you are watching The Faith Factor. Holla. All right. Good morning, everybody. You are watching The Faith Factor, and I am your humble host, Faith. And I just want to go ahead and kick it off with you guys with a little bit of mellow music playing in the background as I get into my commentary, because I believe that this is going to probably be the last in this series that I have put out on my channel on Chris Rock. Now, if there are new developments, of course, I will be right here for it. But yesterday, we learned some new information. We all by now know that Will Smith decided to go ahead and resign from the Film Academy. And so I want to talk about what that means before I get into my main commentary, because it's gonna go down. It's gonna go down. I do want to say that I am still a little sleepy, little tired, because I was up until about 4 o'clock in the morning on I Am Verbal's channel, and it got kind of raunchy over there. You know, there was a lot of wig splitting, a lot of weave pulling, a lot of lace fronts got pulled out, a lot of hair plugs and hair follicles got destroyed last night. No, I'm just playing. But you know, it was a really good conversation. And I just wanted to say again that I am very, very sorry that it ended earlier on my end, the way that it did on I Am Verbal's channel, because I Am Verbal comes to my channel too. She supports me, and it has always been love. And so, you know, I did go back and issue an apology. It was a bit of an echo in the program, so I was not able to kind of, you know, get the thought out the way that I wanted to. And I do also have some clips that I want to play here, because I was on I Am Verbal and I was thinking about an Oprah interview, but actually that was an Oprah interview that Oprah did with Will Smith and not Jada. So, you know, when I'm wrong about something, I'm woman enough to say that I'm wrong. It was actually a clip that the clip that I was thinking about was an Entertainment Tonight clip. And I'm going to play that, and I'm going to give you some of my commentary on what I felt about that, because what I was saying last night to the ladies is that we as women, you know, we need to pick and choose people that we're going to windmill for. There's a lot of black women out here windmilling for Jada Pinkett Smith because she's simply a black woman, and they can relate to her because of her issues with her hair. You know, black women, we are all about our aesthetics. You know, we're very superficial sometimes, to the point where it gets into the way of us discerning right and wrong. And so I'm also going to get into that as well. So I don't want to make this a long one. I want to kind of flip through these as fast as I can. But without further ado, I want to go into what happens and what does it mean to resign from the Academy, and what will happen to Will Smith's Oscar. And so I pulled up a People article, an article from People magazine. Okay, and this was dated on April 1st, so this was just yesterday. And they said Will Smith has resigned from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences in the fallout since he slapped presenter Chris Rock at the award ceremony on Sunday night. And the Academy presenter Chris Rock at the Oscars, and the Academy has accepted his resignation. So the Academy has accepted Will Smith's resignation. So I'm not going to read the entire article, but I'm going to read key points from it. So basically it gets right into it. It says, what does it mean to resign from the Academy? So now that Will Smith has resigned from the Academy, he will no longer enjoy benefits that members are afforded, including access to screeners for films in consideration and the ability to vote for potential nominees. However, his invitation to attend future Academy Awards and related events remains to be seen once the Academy Board reaches a decision later this month. So there are a few things that can happen, okay? The Academy's Code of Conduct, which was majorly revised in 2017 in the wake of the Harvey Weinstein scandal, and he also had to resign from the Academy too, by the way, and the Me Too movement, includes disciplinary measures that may include private reprimand, public reprimand, temporary or permanent loss of privileges to attend and participate in Academy events or activities, temporary or permanent loss of eligibility to receive or hold or revocation of Academy awards or honors, temporary or permanent loss or eligibility to hold Academy service and volunteer roles, or other sanctions that the Academy in its sole discretion may deem appropriate. Okay, so this is basically what it means. Now, while the Academy has stipulated over this week that disciplinary proceedings against Smith will be laid out at the next scheduled board meeting on April 18th, and that he has a 15-day window to provide a written response, his resignation on Friday could conceivably mean that it will be up to Will Smith to decide whether or not he wants to come back in the future. However, his admittance back into the Academy will, of course, be at the discretion of the board member, and it's a board of 54 members. So this is all that Will Smith's resignation means. Now, could he have his Oscar rescinded? That's the million-dollar question. The only time that the Academy has ever rescinded a statuette was for the 1967 documentary Young Americans, which it retroactively found had been released too early to be eligible for the Oscars in 1969. So while Weinstein and Roman Polanski have been ejected from the Academy due to their respective sexual abuse scandals, both men still have their Oscars. So this makes it highly unlikely that Will Smith will also lose his trophy, even though it was awarded shortly after his onstage attack of Rock. So there you have it. So that's what that means as far as Will Smith's resigning from the Academy. Doesn't mean very much, in my opinion. What's up, DOD in the house? So now let's get into the main meat and potatoes of why I came here. Because last night I was at I Am Verbal, and it got kind of heated. You know, the conversation got very, very lively amongst the women, and for the first time you saw Black women who were not in total agreement over a topic about hair. And so you had some of us that felt as if Will Smith was defending his wife's honor. And I want to talk about honor. Okay? Can we just go to the Webster's dictionary and can we just find the definition of honor? I think I'm going to do that right now. What's the definition of honor, y'all? So here I just pulled it up real quick. Hold on a second. See definition. Okay, it says high respect, great esteem, adherence to what is right or to a conventional standard of conduct, to regard with respect, fulfill an obligation or keep an agreement. So we have all these different definitions of what honor is. High respect, great esteem, adherence to what is right or to be a conventional standard of conduct. I don't think that Jada, and this is just my humble opinion, I don't think that Jada falls into the category of someone who has been honorable, according to the definition of what honor is. But Black women said that Will Smith was defending it, her honor. This is a woman, and I have said this yesterday, and I'm going to keep saying it. This is a woman who has acted dishonorably. But this is who Black women choose to champion because of her hair loss. A medical condition that is pretty much, is not life-threatening. Alopecia. That's it. That's all. We're gonna, as a group of women, we are going to overlook the fact that Miss Jada Smith has been on a very, very long media campaign that has been nothing but detrimental to her marriage and embarrassing to her husband's honor. Let me repeat that. Detrimental to her husband's honor. Because see, when you're married, it's a two-way street. You want him to defend your honor, and you want him to make sure that he is keeping your honor intact. But at the same time, Jada, you have been destroying the honor of your husband and making him the butt of every joke by your actions. Sleeping with your son's best friend in your own home, a home that your husband provides for you, by the way. This man don't provide that for you. Your husband does. But Black women don't seem to care about Will Smith's honor. It's very one-sided. Very one-sided. And we are talking about two married people, not just Jada. Jada isn't in the marriage by herself, so her actions do matter. When we're talking about he defended her honor. They matter. So now let's get into Black women not even knowing what actual protection is supposed to look like. Because we have Black women sitting up here talking about Black men don't defend us that often. And when they do, we should not confuse them and tell them, because we're not men, we don't know what protection is supposed to look like. So we shouldn't confuse them when they finally do defend us. If they defend us, no matter how detrimental it could be to the entire situation, especially to him, because see, you ain't the one going to jail. It will be him for defending your so-called honor. But you know, we also, you know, look over that little factoid as well. Conveniently, we look over the fact that he's the one sticking his neck out. And it don't matter when, where, or how he defends our honor, as long as he doing it. It does matter when, where, or how. And see, this is the lopsided thinking that leads me to believe that Black women collectively don't know what protection is supposed to look like. To me, and anyone can correct me when I'm wrong, because I think I might just open up the panel this time and make this a discussion. To me, when a black man in particular, because this is what we're talking about, when men in particular are defending black women or women in particular, defending to me is you're defending from imminent danger or harm. So that means that if I am being mugged, I expect my man to come and defend me. If I'm in imminent danger, someone's beating me up, someone's putting their hands on me, I expect that my man will come and save the day. Because there's imminent danger and there's imminent harm. Now, with that said, I'm not saying that there aren't other forms of defending. I'm not saying that at all. Because if somebody is being disrespectful to your wife, your mother, your daughter, your girlfriend, then it is very much so expected that your man should speak up and use his words. And so in saying this, it does matter when, where, and how. Now, would it be appropriate if you were out and about and some random guy on the street disrespect your woman for you to stand up for her? The answer is yes, because that is some random dude. You are out and about in the public, minding your own business, and this person is being a disruptor. So in that instance, it is acceptable to step in and defend your woman, because this person has lost their goddamn mind. They don't know you, they don't know her. At least you don't think he does. But that's a whole nother story. But is it okay if you're at a comedy show and a comedian cracks a joke about your wife, your girlfriend, or your daughter? Is it acceptable for you to run up on the stage where you can get attacked by security guards and police, put in handcuffs, and escorted off to jail because your wife's daughter, girlfriend, feelings were hurt because they didn't like a joke? The answer is no. No, that is not the time, that is not the place, and that is not the correct circumstance. And see, I don't think that black women collectively understand the difference between the two scenarios I just gave you. You don't understand. Some of you. See, in one scenario, you were not at a comedy club. You were just out and about on the street, and some asshole comes up yelling obscenities at your woman. Yeah, you got the carte blanche to shut that down, because he don't know you and he don't know your woman and he out of line. That's the time, that's the place. And on top of that, there are boundaries that this person is crossing. And even still in that situation, if you lay hands on them for saying something to you, you might still go to jail. So it's always better to use your words first. Unless you as a woman don't care about your man going to jail for any random act, as long as he's defending your honor. I personally would care, because if he's the breadwinner, he's the man that's bringing in all the money, I don't think I would want to interrupt our money because my man doesn't know how to use his words. So yesterday on Verbal Assassins, well, this morning on Verbal Assassins live stream, Bomb Cherry was making assertions that Faith, Faith, you regurgitate all of the men's talking points. You sound just like the Manosphere men. And this is where it gets pretty insulting, right? And this is the reason why I say that women are just as abusive and manipulative to other women. Usually when people are trying to shame you and shut you down, make you be quiet, they try to shame you by saying things like, oh, these are not your thoughts. Kind of like men do to women. They try to relegate you into a child that can't think for themselves. And that's very offensive. But she knew that she was being offensive when she was saying these things to me. I have been doing commentary on here for approximately a decade. It's been about 10 years. And I do have my own thoughts. And I do have my own way of looking at things. I've been accused of being a pick-me, and the word pick-me was thrown around this morning and last night like nobody's business. And it was like no remix. It was the same sorry, boring ass song. Because I don't think like the collective group of Black women who don't think. Exactly, Stoic. I really don't regurgitate Manosphere talking points. All of these talking points are mine. And if anybody knows me, you can get it either way. I have given it to the men as hard as I have given it to the women. Faith just does not like hypocrites. And I don't like people that just sit around here thinking that they can just, blast and say any old thing. And it's not logical. I am a person that like other people who are progressive and logical thinkers. Anything that is not progressive and logical, I'm not going to go with the flow. I don't care how popular you are. Good morning, the Tomboy Chronicles. Q Savage said, at least you cam up, Faith. Yeah, I do from time to time. Not all the time. It's early in the morning, so I am not camera ready right now. So Faith won't be camming up today. But I appreciate you. So now I do want to go into the whole Tiffany Haddish thing, because Tiffany Haddish came out and she made some statements. And see, the reason why I want to put her up, because Tiffany Haddish is the perfect representative of the hood rat logic that I'm attempting to describe to you right now. She's the perfect example, because she got a sexual charge out of Will Smith assaulting another Black man. And she said that Jada Pinkett should go home and give her husband some good sex behind this. Low level, lower echelon, lower thinking. And I really hate to say it, but that is the state of a lot of Black women. And I am a Black woman saying this, and no, this is not Manosphere talking points. This is how I feel. This is what I see. And I don't like it, and I'm not impressed with it. And I'm not trying to be part of the girls club just so, I can get my little Scooby snacks, pats on the head, like, atta girl, yeah, that's right, you with us. No, I'm of my own drum. And I will say that Black women have been extremely self-centered and biased when it comes to our hurt feelings. So now let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to go ahead and do a little screen share real quickly. And what you will see, let me see, is that Tiffany Haddish. Okay. Yep, here we are. Tiffany Haddish on support for Will Slap. We gonna share that real quickly. Let me make sure I put it in the proper view because I want you to see the entire thing. Blow it up for you. All right, and you listen to her and you listen to how she answers the questions in this interview. You listen to how she deflects when the reporter asks her to give her professional opinion, not her opinion as a black woman, but her opinion as a comedian. Just watch how she deflects. Watch the delusion. Look at how crazy she looks. And then you tell me that she represents about 90% of the black women who support Will Smith slapping Chris Rock for a joke. And she herself is a comedian. Let me go ahead and turn down my volume as I play
Did we do a little costume change?
I'm not wearing a costume. I'm wearing Dolce Gabbana. It's called an evening gown, darling. This is not. No one's paying me for this. I paid for it. It's custom. Thank you.
Time of death for me right now. You look
This
gorgeous.
is not an acting gig. This is my life. This what fame look like. This what success look like. This what money look like. This what it look like. It's what it look like.
When is your book coming out called This What It Looked Like? And I will just read the entire
That
book.
book's not coming no time soon, but I Curse You With Joy will be out in November.
Okay.
And Layla, the Last Black Unicorn, will be out next month.
You're doing so much right now. Okay.
I'm just, trying to accomplish a lot of things before 50. What are you doing?
Well, I'm wondering
You
something.
out here with no shoes on. I'm jealous.
No shoes on.
Where
Here's
you
the thing.
from?
I'm from Chicago.
And you out here with no shoes on?
This is warm weather to me.
I know it's hot out here to you, right?
Okay.
I appreciate you.
You know
you're
I
not
gotta
uncomfortable.
ask
You're
you.
not uncomfortable in there,
I'm
no?
not, but you
Okay,
know
good.
I gotta ask.
Because you're not wearing no heels. You comfortable in the mud. I'm uncomfortable, but I look good. That's what it look like.
Would you define tonight as uncomfortable?
Now I would define tonight as a success.
Okay.
It was a great night tonight.
Okay. What did
First
you?
of all, I seen a man stand up for his wife,
Okay.
which we don't see that much anymore. That made me have hope. How about you?
I
How
wanted.
did you feel about it?
I wanted your opinion on it because you're a comedian, and so it was that thing where like, was that joke too far? How did you feel about what Will did? Because you are someone who's done comedy, and yet, like you just said, you saw a man defending his wife.
Yeah. I want to know how you felt about it. Would you want your husband to do that for you if you was clearly hurt? I mean, they put her face up on the screen. He looked over at his wife. She was hurt. What would you want?
I would want him to defend me. The thing that made me sad was like this was a big night for Will, and then you saw that emotion for him, and it was like it's just I can't. I don't think I've still processed how this night went.
Well, I just know she better take care of business when they get home. Because I know I would. If my man did that for me, I'm just saying, yellow.
Did you talk to either of them tonight?
Yeah, I did.
Did you tell them how you felt?
Oh, they know how I feel.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, they know how I feel. That's my friends. They know.
Well, you go way back with them to some of the.
It's a girls' trip.
Yes.
Yeah. They know my crazy. You know. Yeah.
Well, it was incredible to watch Will up there. T1. How did you feel watching him give that speech?
I felt very proud. I felt gratified. And I just hope that more men are like that. Care about their families. Now, it's not just about you, right? It's not just about you, sir. What about your family, the people you create, the people that help you be who you are? That's important. That's what I think America forgot about.
What do you say to people who are critiquing him online right now?
Yeah, what you doing for your family? Who you protect?
Okay, by the way, what can we expect from the book? Because we all want to read it.
What you think? What you think? I curse you with joy. What you think you gonna get out of that? You think you about to get the tea, honey? Are you thirsty? You ready for some tea time? Read that book. That part. She ready. Now I gotta go take these pictures. I got a limited time on my feet. I see you already took your shoes off. What about my feet? What about my feet?
I want your feet to feel good.
Girl, if you see my feet right now, they start talking to you. They be like, Kaliman Shakti Day, Kaliman Shakti Day.
All right, y'all. So that's pretty much the gist of that. So let me go back and let's get you guys' reaction because I saw this and it was very cringy for me. Yeah, Stoic, she reversed the question. She totally just sidestepped what the reporter was asking her. The reporter asked her, the reporter said, I just had to get your opinion because you are also a comedian. And she completely reversed and sidestepped the question. And that's what we do. We don't never just, give a straight answer when someone is asking us a direct question. Some of us. She just went off into the protection portion of it. And it had nothing to do with her professional opinion at all. And that is what the reporter was asking for. As a comedian, would you have condoned this? And all Tiffany can go on and on and on about was, oh, it felt so good to see a black man standing up. I'm just ad libbing, but we heard what she said. That's all she was focused on. That was it. Stefan Mochi said, "What do you expect from Tiffany Haddish?" Well, I would expect that grown black women of a certain age, of my age group, would have more wisdom and knowledge than this. This is what I was expecting. And what this whole situation with the Will Smith, Chris Rock debacle at the Oscars has done is it has exposed a lot of things. It has exposed a lot of things about a lot of people. But primarily what it has exposed, it has exposed that a lot of black women are extremely narcissistic in our thinking. And I'm a black woman saying this, and I'm not bashing or trying to come down on my own gender and my own group. But it would be remiss of me not to point this out because it is narcissistic. If this were a black man doing and saying these things, we as black women would be in an uproar. We would be sitting up here yelling how narcissistic black men are, how they only care about themselves and they're selfish in their own feelings. But we don't never, this is the mirror that I've been talking about, that black women, we refuse to turn onto ourselves. And collectively, because I'm not saying that this is every black woman, because this is definitely not me, but collectively, this is the consensus. So Faith may fall into a very, very small category of black women, maybe 30% that feel the way that I feel, whereas the vast majority, the collective, is making the 30% look bad. And so it would be remiss of me not to point that out. Stefan said I did a video about black women being narcissistic. I did a video about some black mothers that are narcissistic, and that was like, oh, the nail in my coffin back then. That was the nail in my coffin. So yeah, you're right. And we as black women, we have a very hard time taking criticism. We can't even take criticism from each other. Even if we amongst ourselves as black women have differences of opinions, you can go and you can see what happened on I Am Verbal stream. There was a lot of name calling, and notice that when I was up there, I didn't name call anybody. This was my opinion, and people were calling me pick me and all this other stuff, and my thoughts are not my own and everything else. And I don't mind being in the minority either, because somebody has to stand on principle. And right now, the collective of black women, we're not doing a really good job of that. I am a black woman who knows exactly what it is like to be defended. I've had a husband who has defended me. I had a father who has defended me. And current in my current relationship, I have a man who has defended me. And they never, ever, ever jumped out on toxic masculinity. And they were examples for other men and young black men in our neighborhood. You had other men that looked up to them. And it was because they handled themselves like men. And the way that Will Smith moved that night at the Oscars, that is not how men move. Like I tried to tell the ladies early this morning, real men don't move like that. When you have a man that's a provider, he's high value and he has a lot to lose. He doesn't move like that. I was watching one of Chrissy's videos and she was also trying to explain to black women that men that have something to lose, or high value men, or whatever you want to call them, they don't move like that. When they have something to lose, they move a little bit different. Their movements are very, very strategic. It doesn't mean that they don't move at all, but there is a strategy to how they go about executing what it is that they're going to do, because they have a full understanding of all of the repercussions. Now, men, and I use the word loosely, that don't have anything to lose, these would be your Pookies, your Ray Rays, your men who have not achieved much in life. So they really don't have nothing to lose. These are typically the men that move the way that Will Smith moved last night. Will Smith had a lot to lose in that moment. And actually, I will make an argument that he has lost a lot already, his reputation being one of them. There's not going to be a whole lot of people that's going to want to touch Will Smith after this. And black women, while you all are sitting up here celebrating Will Smith, you ought to be celebrating Chris Rock, because had it not been for Chris Rock keeping the head about himself, even after the LAPD was trying to get him to go and have Will Smith arrested, Chris Rock held his head and he thought about his career and Will Smith's career. Chris Rock gave Will Smith grace when Will Smith did not deserve it, because he could have had him escorted out of those awards, out of the Oscars, in handcuffs in front of the whole world, for the whole world to see, in front of his family. And Chris Rock was the one who kept the cooler head. And he thought about everything that was at stake for everybody. He thought about the people who were being honored at that award ceremony. Chris Rock did that. I'm sorry, my volume was low. Chris Rock was the one that saved the entire evening, not Will Smith. Because Will Packer was devastated. And he was the person that put together the entire ceremony. He was thinking that they would have to shut everything down after that incident. Had it not been for Chris Rock, Will Smith would not have been able to get up, accept his award, and make a acceptance speech. Good morning, Ken Hyde. I don't think that it was staged at all. At this juncture, we should all probably know that this is the real deal. This is what happened. So when black women are sitting up there romanticizing a blundering idiot move that Will Smith made, the only reason you're able to have this romantic fantasy is because Chris Rock did not retaliate. He kept his cool. He did not press charges. He fought it out for everybody. And other people who were there to be honored were able to be honored. Not because of Will Smith, but because of Chris Rock. And nobody is giving Chris Rock any type of consideration in this whole ordeal. Black women view Chris Rock as a villain instead of a victim. And that, again, is another way that we are being exposed as women. You don't even have the ability to know what protection is, and you don't have the ability to know what an actual villain is. So if you can't identify what a protector is supposed to look like and what protection is supposed to look like, and you don't understand what a villain is, black women, we got problems. And so when you sit up here and say that, oh, you know, if we don't celebrate Will Smith for so-called protecting his wife's honor, then we're going to confuse the men. I think that the men are confused because we don't know what honor is. We don't know what protection is supposed to look like, and we don't know what villains are supposed to look like. And Chris Rock wasn't a villain. He was a victim in this situation. And we as women didn't care about that. Because we too busy worried about our feelings and our honor. Me, me, me. You didn't care about Will Smith going to jail. That's also very problematic. A great deal of you didn't care if Will Smith went to jail. As a matter of fact, a lot of you think that that's the price that he should pay for protecting his wife's honor. So what if he loses his Oscar? So what if he doesn't get a chance to make his acceptance speech? So what if he goes to jail? So what if he has to do time? So what if he loses any type of business in the future? So what? So what? So what? Our honor is what's most important. This is your thought process. And I'm trying to lay it out as plain as I possibly can. Our thought process is really effed up, ladies. And that's probably the reason why Will Smith's thought process is effed up, because he's been around a lot of women that have the thought mentality, the hood rat mentality. That's who he has been listening to. And if that song, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, is any indicator of how he really grew up in Philly, he getting into fights all the time and different things of that nature, to the point where he has to be protected by getting him out far away from the hood. If that's any indicator, then yeah, he's been in that environment for a while, and that environment never left him. Stefan Moultrie, see, this is where you got me fucked up. He says, Faith, I bet you looking at that girl getting it upside the head with that skateboard differently, now aren't you? Nope, not at all. And here's why. The girl that got hit with the skateboard was walking down the street minding her own goddamn business. And some hood rat niggas decide that they want to make a pass at her, and when she declines, their response is violence. So how in the hell is this the same situation? I look at that girl getting hit upside the head with the skateboard. She is a victim. See, you ain't talking to no dummy. See, I am a person that grew up around all different types of great leadership in my life. I had great leadership from my mother and great leadership from my father. So I can sit up here and say with complete and utter discernment what victims look like and what villains look like. And the guy holding the skateboard is a villain, and the young lady that got hit with it is a victim. Will Smith is a villain, and Chris Rock, who he slapped, is a victim. Can't have, I don't know why Stefan always come up in here saying stupid shit. He just do. And this is what I'm talking about. This is why we as a group, we need help. There is a mental breakdown in the Black community where the great majority of us cannot discern who the villains and victims are. We cannot discern what actual situations garner you standing your ground, and what situations garner you standing down or just simply using your words. We don't have that discernment as a group. Some of us do, but a lot of us don't. And that's the reason why we're racing to the bottom every day. Shout out to Commendable K. Now, Bomb Cherry and I got into little words about an interview that I mentioned that Jada Pinkett had appeared on, and she talked about her sex life with Will Smith. And I erroneously thought it was an Oprah interview, as I mentioned earlier, but it wasn't. It was an Entertainment Tonight interview. And this was, I don't know exactly when she did that Entertainment Tonight interview. I want to say it was like in the early, I want to say 2019 or 2020 or something like that. But it was around the same talk as the Oprah interview. I know she had her, no. It was about maybe 2020 because her Red Table Talk was out during that time. And so Entertainment Tonight aired her speaking on her and Will's marriage. And so what she didn't exactly say, I want to be fair when I give the depiction of what she said. She didn't exactly say the words, my husband can't satisfy me sexually. But I want you guys to listen to this interview and you all tell me what you got out of this, because I'm going to tell you what I got out of it. It sounded like a woman saying that she was not being sexually satisfied and that their sex life was in trouble. That's what I heard. And see, this is one of the more tamer moments when Jada was out here just smearing their marriage. Now, in contrast, you have Will Smith that went on the Oprah show, and Oprah asked Will about their sex life, and Will was making it sound great. He was like, oh yeah, when Jada and I first got married, we were having sex 6 times a day. He was making it sound good. Whereas in contrast, his wife is out here talking about, the communication, he didn't know. I mean, after so long, I shouldn't have to tell you. And, she's whining and complaining about the sex life. So you guys, you listen and you tell me if I'm wrong. You tell me. Well, hold on a second. Let me go ahead and get this share up here, and I will let you guys be the judge. All right, here we go.
Especially when it comes to sex. It's like, well, if you love me, you should know. You know what I mean? If you love me,
you should be able to read my mind.
Yeah.
Jada Pinkett Smith gets candid about her sex life with Will Smith after more than 2 decades of marriage.
It is not your responsibility to make your wife happy, right? Just like it's not my wife's responsibility to make me happy. It's my responsibility to make me happy, and it's her responsibility to make her happy, and then we're going to come together and build on that happiness.
The 50-year-old actress opens up on the latest episode of Facebook Watch's Red Table Talk, telling her mom, Adrienne Banfield Norris, and guest Gwyneth Paltrow about the difficulties of maintaining a good sex life after all those years.
Really, at the end of the day, it's just not quitting. You know?
Of course, Will and Jada tied the knot in 1997 and will celebrate their 24th anniversary this coming New Year's Eve. They share 2 kids, 20-year-old Willow and 23-year-old Jaden. Will is also dad to 28-year-old Trey from a previous relationship.
It was hard.
I know.
I mean, the thing that Will and I talk about a lot is the journey. I mean, we started in this at a very young age, you know, 22 years old. I think you expect your partner to know, especially when it comes to sex. It's like, well, if you love me, you should know. You know what I mean? If you love me, you should be able to read my mind. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's a huge tip. Yeah.
Jada says she's grown out of that mindset, but it can still be uncomfortable for her to express what she wants.
Tell me what you need, tell me what you want. And on top of it, I know that I have to be accountable to do the same. And you? I really try. Yeah. It's uncomfortable, but it's deeply healthy.
Of course, this all echoes what Will told E.T. back in 2007.
Anything that I need to make myself happy, I will present that to my wife that I need that to be happy. Divorce is not an option. We're going to be together. So we're going to figure out how to be happy.
In fact, he doubled down on all that again in 2015, telling E.T. that when it comes to their marriage, they put in the work.
You can't expect it to be easy. It's like our marriage was the most difficult, grueling, and excruciating thing that we've ever taken on in our lives. And, you know, we're just not quitters. And by the same token, we're not apathetic. So we're not going to sit there and let it, you know, be painful. We're going to keep working. And if there is a secret, I would say, is that we never went into working on our relationship. We only ever worked on ourselves individually and then presented ourselves to one another better than we were previously.
And just in case there was any confusion, on Wednesday, Jada clarified her comments about her sex life with Will, tweeting in part, quote, "Will and I have never had an issue in the bedroom. Thank you." But back to Red Table Talk. While discussing the topic of sex with their kids, Jada and Gwyneth had very different experiences. Willow started asking Jada about sex at the age of 5, and Jada says she made sure to preach respect and consideration when the topic came up with Jaden. As for Gwyneth's kids, 15-year-old Moses and 17-year-old Apple, whom she shares with her ex Chris Martin, she said the topic first came up when they were in 6th grade and had sex ed at school.
6th grade had the craziest sex ed.
Really?
It was incredible. Full on everything. Like they learned everything. I will never forget Apple's face when she came home. She told them everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything.
All right, fair use audio. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing at this point because we pretty much get the gist of what's going on here. So I'm coming back to get your thoughts. Yeah, Stoic, it was definitely contradictory to what she said. Because now, and I can recognize when grown people are trying to keep it respectable with their words, because Will Smith used the word happy in lieu of sex. And so, I appreciate them, using decorum and tact as they're describing their sex life. But make no mistake, this is what they were talking about. They're talking about their sex life. And Will Smith said something else that really stuck out to me, but they said that their marriage was the most difficult and grueling thing they've ever had to deal with. And this is me quoting him directly. So if for you to sit there and say it's the most difficult and grueling thing you both have ever had to deal with, that's a lot. That's a lot. And you can see the frustration on both of their face, in their body language, in their voice when they're describing their sex life. So you all tell me if that is not a correct interpretation. The sex life was not all that great, but she tried to come back and say, oh yeah, me and my husband never had any problem with the sex life, but it was too little too late, Jada. You had already put it out there. Too little too late. And so it's stuff like this that Will Smith has had to deal with for years and years and years. And we know that the sex life was suffering if they're both out here having entanglements. Now, I will say that Jada's entanglement is the only one that actually came out. Will's entanglements did not actually come out. What's up in Crew Mature? The Tomboy Chronicles said Will figured out how to make himself happy. Yeah, they were both making themselves happy with their entanglements. Good morning, Mahogany Roots and MJ. They were making each other happy with their entanglements, but they weren't making each other happy with each other. And you did not, and that is something that you will pick up on all of that. So we all grown here. Nobody's crazy. When Jada is sitting up there talking about, and she got the frown on her face and she's looking frustrated as she's even talking about her and her husband's sex life. Will Smith got the scowl on his face and he's looking frustrated as he's talking about him and Jada's sex life and how he had to figure out ways to make himself feel good. And they're going to each other in frustration, sexual frustration, so that they're not satisfying each other. And the person that put that out there was Jada. Everybody grown up in here. Let's not pretend that we don't see that. So I wanted to, play that and just put into perspective what I was trying to convey last night on I Am Verbal's channel. This is something that Jada Pinkett Smith has been doing for years. I'm talking years. And this was on top of the entanglement conversation at her Red Table Talk. This is on top of the actual affair. And then other things regarding the rest of their family coming out in the media that didn't look too good, that Will has been having to deal with, the whole entire family's been having to deal with. And so to say that that Will Smith acted in the capacity of a man the night of the Oscars, a man defending his wife's honor, I have to say, what honor? What honor? And I do understand that Will Smith stayed with Jada even after all of the infidelity and all of the interviews with her saying that he can't satisfy her sexually. Even with his own daughter Willow writing a letter to Tupac asking Tupac to please come back and make her mommy happy, because even Willow knows that her mommy still loves Tupac. And Jada, well, there was a letter that she wrote that's circulating out here where she's saying that Tupac can make her come without even touching her. And yet your husband doesn't sexually satisfy you. This doesn't look good. This is not honorable. You are publicly humiliating your husband and emasculating him every day, but you expect him to defend your honor. And let's talk about defending your honor, because what about his honor? I think that Will Smith should have defended his own honor when he found out that you were having sex with your son's best friend in his home. I think that he should have defended his own honor then and not just smack the hell out of August, but stump him down into the ground. And he should have had the balls to divorce you a long time ago. He should have defended his own honor. And that's just my personal thoughts on that. Because you ma'am don't have any honor to defend. And I'm not going to jump on the black woman bandwagon windmilling for you, Jada. Because how can I sit up here and try to defend the undefensible? You have no defense. Now, people can sit up here and argue that you had someone defending your so-called honor at the Oscars. But if it wasn't for Chris Rock saving your man's ass, your high-value man would have been in jail. And he would have been hit with a charge. Because he was so-called trying to defend your honor. All you do is make it worse, Jada. And women who think like this, you make it worse. Tiffany Haddish egging it on. Women like this, all you do is make a bad situation even worse. And if it was not for Chris Rock is the hero in this scenario. He saved Will Smith's ass from getting arrested. He saved the Oscars, and he conducted himself like a man, a thinking man. Now, the last thing that I want to put out there, and then I'm going to shut it down because I think I've made all of my points here. Last point that I want to make is I want to delve into the fact that did Chris Rock know about Jada Pinkett's alopecia when he made that joke? Okay. Did he know? So did Chris Rock know about Jada's alopecia, and should that have been a deterrent for telling the joke? Chris Rock has stated that he didn't know that Jada had that condition. However, in my humble opinion, because it's alopecia and because Will Smith himself has made jokes about people who are bald that had alopecia. Alopecia is not a life-threatening illness. It is a cosmetic medical condition mostly that affects otherwise healthy people. So alopecia by itself is not harmful. It's just a cosmetic condition. So with that said, I don't think that should have been a deterrent for telling the joke at all. If you can't take a joke, then you need to get out of the celebrity spotlight, because that's what comes with the territory. You are expected in your profession to take the high road when it comes to these situations, because it's part of the job. And Will Smith, in his publicized PR apology, even he stated that it comes with the territory and it's part of the job. And Jada is not exempt from that, because she's also a celebrity as well, and she's married to a larger celebrity. So you don't do things like become celebrities. You don't do things like sit on the first row in front of a comedian, because you're bound to be part of the act. So no, I don't think that Chris Rock was out of line. I do think that Will Smith was 1000% out of line in everything that he did that night, including going up there and accepting his award and apologizing to everyone except Chris Rock, who was the only reason his ass was not toted out of there in handcuffs. And Will Packer went on record making the statement that everybody was wanting Will Smith to make it right, to make it better. They wanted him to go up there and say, "And I apologize to you, Chris. What I did was wrong." But he didn't do that night. That would have been a more heartfelt apology if he had did it the same night that it happened, while he was accepting his award, and that the only reason he's able to do it, it was because Chris Rock gave him grace and did not have his black ass arrested. Let's put it all in perspective here, because Chris Rock could have stolen that moment from him, and he did not. So that makes him the bigger man. Ken Hyde seems like she's describing the alopecia. She says, "I can't speak for how Jada was feeling about her condition, but being in the natural hair care industry, alopecia of any form is very TRSU for women and men." Well, yeah, I mean, hair loss is difficult. I've been bald myself. I've had to, do the big chop twice in my life. So I know, how embarrassing it could be to have to run out and about, with a bald head, and, people, making fun of you and all that type of stuff. It weighs heavy on your self-esteem. Oh, you said traumatic. Okay. Yeah, it can be traumatic. But like I said, if I'm running around with a bald head and can't nobody see my alopecia, but they do see that bald head. And if I decide to go to a comedy show and I'm sitting right there in the front row, I am pretty much going to, in my mind, be prepared for anything that comedian says, because the comedian doesn't know anything about me. He's going to go by first what he sees. And the bald head is going to be the first thing probably that he's going to go for. And I wouldn't be mad at that, because I'm sitting on the front row. You're pretty much asking for it, because comedians do a thing what they call working the crowd. So they're going to work that front row. And if you're sitting there, if you're dressed funny, you look any kind of crazy to them, they're comedians. They're going to make a joke out of it. And you expect that. So people, I do understand alopecia. Some of y'all think this is as serious as cancer. It hurts your feelings mostly, but it's not life threatening. And see, I'm 46. Jada's in her 50s. Most of the people involved in that situation was in their 50s. And if you ain't got a tough skin by 50, by God, you'll never have it. Stoic One says Jada also laughed after Rock was struck by her husband. Yeah, I saw that video clip. She thought that was funny. Like I said, I believe Jada Pinkett to be a very toxic woman. And I do believe that Jada and Will are both the poster children for toxic masculinity and what Will Smith displayed, and toxic femininity and what Jada Pinkett displayed. And women, we can use our femininity in a toxic way that can have a negative impact on everyone in our lives. And it starts with our ego and wanting everyone to defend our honor, sometimes even when we don't have any honor. We will bat our eyes and frown up our face and throw a little mini tantrum to ourselves to indicate to our husbands that we're displeased and it's time for you to stand up for our honor. And that's toxic femininity. Toxic masculinity is when you feed into the toxic femininity and you allow that rationale to take over instead of the rationale of a man that knows the time, the place to protect. And you don't give the baby throwing the tantrum everything that they want. But toxic masculinity doesn't understand this. And so baby gets whatever she wants, even at your expense. So Chris Rock revealed in 2020, around September 2020, that he has the learning disorder NVLD. And here is what that is. NVLD shares some symptoms with autism and Asperger's, but it's a different disorder according to experts. And I'm reading this directly from health.com. So basically, the article itself is saying that it is not uncommon for learning disorders to go undiagnosed until adulthood. And Chris Rock can attest to that. In a recent interview with The Hollywood Reporter, the comedian got serious to talk about his ongoing therapy sessions, 7 hours a week, with 2 therapists, which began earlier this year after a friend suggested he might have Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism that affects the way a person communicates. Rock underwent 9 hours of cognitive testing and was diagnosed with nonverbal learning disorder, also known as NVLD. And here's everything you need to know about NVLD, including how to know if you might have it. Okay, so now what exactly is NVLD? It isn't defined as a distinct disorder in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. Generally is characterized by verbal strengths, such as well as visual, spatial, motor, social skill difficulties. So basically, Chris Rock is quoted as saying that all he understands is words. In a nutshell, nonverbal learning disorder makes it difficult to pick up on nonverbal cues. So Chris Rock says, all I understand are words. So he's a person that's very literal. So if you don't communicate with him and tell him things, he's not going to pick up on a nonverbal cue. And this is something that he has struggled with his entire life, and it has affected his other relationships and other marriages that he was in. So Chris Rock having NVLD has been a blessing and a curse for him. Now, when he's up there doing his comedy routines, if people are, looking like they're being sarcastic or they're heckling in the audience or they're doing all types of nonverbal cue movements, he's not affected by these people because his NVLD doesn't allow him to pick up on nonverbal cues. So this is what makes him be able to have the ego to get through his comedy routines the way that he does. Now, most people with NVLD are very verbal instead of nonverbal. So when people do things to people with NVLD, they have no reaction whatsoever. So that explains the reason why Chris Rock didn't have a reaction, the appropriate reaction to the slap. This also explains why Chris Rock didn't see that Jada Pinkett Smith was visibly upset and uncomfortable. And this is an actual medical diagnosis, a mental disorder, a condition that Chris Rock has. So the same way that all of you are shouting, how come Chris Rock didn't know about Jada Pinkett Smith's alopecia? Well, how come Will and Jada didn't know about Chris Rock's NVLD? See how the door swings both ways. I have a daughter who is on a very, very high functioning spectrum of autism. And I can tell you with complete authority that Chris Rock isn't lying about that nonverbal learning disorder, because my own daughter displays the same thing. She's high functioning as well, just like Chris Rock is high functioning. My daughter doesn't have appropriate nonverbal responses like everyone else. And so she's kind of like off to herself. She doesn't have many friends. Chris Rock also says that he doesn't have many friends because of the way he is. Because if you really think about it, scientists say that majority of communication is 70% nonverbal. That's 70% of our communication with each other is nonverbal. So imagine living in a world where you have majority of the communication is nonverbal, but you're a very verbal person and you take things very literally. That can be very difficult. Right. Kent has said, wow, he got the golden talk cash shit and get out of it card. Exactly. Pretty much. Pretty much. And man, and my daughter, the one that I told you has the Asperger's. Yes, she has that golden card to talk cash shit, because we know that she's a very literal person. She does not understand when she has gotten under somebody's skin, and she's very blunt too. You all think I'm blunt. My youngest daughter is very blunt. And she don't have a concept that she stepped on your feelings, because if you frown or you give her a nonverbal cue, she's not going to pick up on that right away. She's very literal. But if you tell her, hey, this is how this made me feel, and you sit down and you talk to her and use your words, because you basically have to use your words with these types. That's the only thing that they understand are words. If you tell them something, they take it very literally. And also, if you give them your word, that's another thing. People like this, if you give them your word and you go back on it, these people will never let you forget, because they are very literal. Your word is your bond with people like this. And that's how it is with my youngest daughter. If I tell her that I'm going to do something, she really, really, really expects that you're going to do it. And if you don't do it, she's never going to let you forget about it. They're very, very literal. So I just wanted to leave you guys with that bit of information. It has been talked about in other places online. I didn't get a chance to talk about it here the day that I found the article. I thought it was very interesting. And it really, for me, it answered a lot of questions as to why Chris Rock reacted the way he did. It answered the question as to how he couldn't have seen that, the joke, hurt Jada the way that it did, because he himself has a personality disorder that prohibits him from doing such. So, with that being said, I did say that I was going to invite people up to share their opinions on the commentary that they heard here today. Give your opinion on the whole Will Smith, Jada Smith scenario. So I'm gonna set aside some time to open it up to anybody that wants to come up here and share your thoughts. Now, like I said, I do run my show a different way. I prefer for people to be respectful when they come up here. You're going to get a chance to rock out. You're going to get a chance to say fully what you've had to say. Now, I've had 1 hour and 22 minutes to get things off my chest. So my time is over. So anybody else that wants to come up here and give their opinion about the Will and Jada Pickett, the Will and the Chris Rock situation, the situation of Chris Rock and his NVLD, Tiffany Haddish and her hood rat logic. And that's just me saying it. I feel that it was hood rat logic. Jada Pinkett Smith and what you feel about her. Do you think that she had a hand in how things played out? These are all things that I think are worth talking about. I think that it's worth having the discussion and worth having the conversation in a civilized manner, because evidently there is a huge disconnect between Black women and what we are expecting of Black men as far as protection, and Black men and what they're willing to give as protection. Some Black men, I'm not even going to sit up here and deny that there are Black men that don't want to protect at all, because I've seen that. I've seen Black men talking about women got to be worthy and all this. Now, as scandalous as I think Jada Pinkett Smith is, if she was being mugged or somebody was getting ready to rape her or she was in imminent danger, I would still think that that woman deserves to be protected on a human level. So let's not get crazy, because I know a lot of people, y'all like to take things literally. I'm wondering if the whole entire Black community has NVLD, because you all take things too literally and you don't think outside the box. That's not what faith is saying at all. Anybody that's in imminent danger, whether it be man, woman, child, old person, anybody in imminent danger deserves to be protected. Ken High says, but I always see Black women as defending Black men. Yeah, it is lopsided, very lopsided. Now, Black women, we are very, very quick to come to the defense of Black men, whereas Black men don't do the same for us. So I am not saying it's not lopsided at all. But I do want to welcome onto the stream Mr. Chaos Rain.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I don't know. Is that me or is the echo? I'm on my phone. I don't know if it's supposed to do that. Anyway, what's good, Faith? Long time, long speak. I had to take a sit back. I did content on it briefly, and now thinking about hard, I'm about to wait and see there's real fallbacks, serious fallbacks, before I conclude what I've assumed what this was, since it was run and controlled that night by Black people. Because they were complaining, if you remember years ago, how when Jada's complained about the racism in the Oscars and stuff, And miraculously, this year they had a black director or whoever ran the thing, and this happened. Hmm. So I have to really sit back and see what really is going on here. Because he said he resigned something, but I think it's something more to it. So I can't really, in my opinion, I'm still gonna hold out for my channel when I did this content and my stance on it, even some of the photos and all this stuff. Because you gotta understand, Faith, this is Hollywood. You
Yeah, I
get me?
do understand. I understand this is Hollywood.
Yeah, it's Hollywood, and they are known to be put on shows and illusions and etc. And even to the what I'm hearing now from the last couple of years that the Oscars was not really a very high rated platform for years now. And I think this is the most attention it got in like I would say a decade or two. Last time I
Yeah.
checked.
Yeah,
So
it hasn't gotten much attention at all. It has not been a very successful show. As a matter of fact, they were even speaking on shutting down the Oscars. So it is something that's
mm,
this is the
eh,
best thing that has happened to the Oscars as far as exposure, but it's also one of the worst things that has happened because everybody's going to be watching to see what it is they do about this situation.
now it's interesting you said that we're thinking of shutting down, and they've been this has been in existence for almost a century since 1928. So now if they're losing rate, remember, you gotta understand shit. Faith. Everything that they put out on media is supposed to grab attention, ratings. That's it. If it's not doing that and it's starting to decline for more than 10 years, the next business move is saying, well, we got either do something different or we just don't have it all, period, because we're not supposed to have something like this and no one's even making an attempt to watch it. So it makes sense that night they had, and here's the funny thing, and people got to understand this. It's ironic when shit goes bad, they got to find Negroes to bail them out, to give it life. You ever notice that?
You know what? You're right about that. I never even thought about it in that context, but it does seem as if when everything goes to shit, they get a bunch of black people, and we got to pump life back into their institutions. And we don't have a leg or a foot in any of these institutions. By the way, we have to build them back up, and then once they get built back up, then they go back to discriminating against us. So that's a good point.
Yeah, so that's why when I stand that this could have been plotted still, and I'm still hold on to into other things factors come to play because hold on 1 second, Faye. I'm gonna jump down and come back in. I gotta take this.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. All right. So that was Chaos Rain. He's gonna step down and come back up, but he made some really valid points here. And I want to delve into that because it does seem as if every time a white institution, especially when it comes to their entertainment, every time it loses its luster and its zest, all of a sudden here they want to come and invite us to the party. We get to come to the cookout after they done burnt up all the meat. After they done soured all the food. You know, all of a sudden black people can come to the cookout and we get to cook the food. We get to make it. We get to make it spicy. We get to cook it all the way, make it taste like how it's supposed to taste. And that is exactly Chaos Reign is right. That is exactly what the Oscars did, because there was very little black representations at the Oscars, and that's one of the reasons why Jada Pinkett Smith and a few other black actors were boycotting the Oscars back in 2016, because there wasn't enough black representation. Now all of a sudden you got a black man, he's orchestrating the Oscars, putting it together. So that was a very interesting point that Chaos Rain made. But welcome back, Chaos Rain.
Yeah. So that's why when I saw the photos from social media, I think Facebook especially, of the image of the slap, to now I'm seeing his little weak apology, even to the point where now yesterday say he's what do you call it, resigning from some part of some Oscar. I don't know what it was, and it seemed like of irrelevance. That this is or I should say cleanup. to so the American public or people of the world bite it. And to be honest with you, it's not a good job for those that using critical thinking and really looking at things and taking a step back, saying what I watched was really adequate because this draw a lot of attention to a platform that's dying, and even go as far as they might not even have it next year, so they might not even survive what we call 100 years because no one's watching it. It don't make no sense they keep having it. Period.
Hold on a second. Let me go ahead and acknowledge the super chat from Doug. Doug with the $10 super chat. He says Oscar ratings 2018, 26 million, 2019, 29 million, 2020, 23 million, and 2021, 10.4 million. Chris Rock had his hands behind his back. Lean into the slap before it happened. Stage SF. So Doug is making the argument that he believes that this was staged because of the low ratings of the Oscar. So he's in alignment with you, Chaos Reign. And also I want to shout out the Information Man show as well. He had an excellent topic last night. So shout out to Information Man show on his coverage of the pastor who married the 18-year-old bride. So welcome, Information Man show, and shout out to you and great job. Yes, last night on that show. But go ahead,
Yeah,
Chaos.
if Doug got links, he should put that in the chat room so people can go back to playback and follow that because we gotta follow the numbers because numbers really play a factor. If the highest they had back 4 years ago was roughly almost 29 million, down to 10, you're losing money, and it's slowly declining every year now. So obviously, it makes sense that they need some drastic to boost it up. And I would like to know the numbers if they have that available or how much they made. What happened last week? I would guarantee probably if they pushed over 100 million or more than 50, I'd be laughing right now. Because that's when that happened. Everybody start posting on social media, Faye, like it was a storm. Chris Rock slap, Will slap Chris Rock. I guarantee people plugged in onto that. See what's going to happen next. They got you. They got your attention. And you must understand attention is just as much worth as currency in today's world. Engagement and attention. I think majority of people that do content, what they're seeking for, they need your attention. Because it'd be irrelevant. This is currency now in the free world today. Attention. And the lack of it, you don't get nothing out of it. I don't know if y'all can hear me. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah. So that's how I conclude out of it. And I'm going to stand firm in my decision. Now, one thing Oscar could have did to really even make this real, if we want to go there, is they could say, well, two things were going to happen. We're going to have to ban you until otherwise. That could be one thing. Now, they could take back his Oscar, but I don't see him in the business taking back anything they give to somebody. They could, but it don't make sense at this point. But banning
I don't think that they're going to take the Oscar back.
No,
they have never taken the Oscar back.
They never will. So the only thing that if they really want to make this believable, and I would say, okay, this could be some real, and say we're going to have to ban you up here. Now the resignation is another direction where it said, well, we have to step in because he resides, so we have to take no action. And so no, you're going to take action if you try to sell this, because there are people out here that's taking faith, and the problem is they can fool a lot of people. They can't fool them all. And for those people that can sit there and think it's believe and not, I said, okay, you stand on your beliefs and your decision. But to me, when I look at the ratings and look at they had an all black run this, it makes perfect sense. And not only that, it actually turns the image array of the black man, as we don't need no more image tarnishing.
Okay. Well, I think that's an interesting perspective, and another interesting perspective. Doug is coming in. Boy, he is firing the shots tonight. He says that, thank you, Doug, for the $5 super chat, by the way. He says Pfizer was the sponsor of the Oscars and are getting close to releasing a new medication for alopecia. So that's interesting.
All right. Look at that. Look at that. See, and that's a stock market thing if you think about it.
Well, I
Okay.
want to go ahead and introduce two new people to the panel. We have Stefan Moultrie, and we also have the Information Man Show. And, as always, I like to get the content creators out of the way first. So, Information Man, what's up?
Hey, everything is going fine. Thank you for coming by and supporting the show last night. That story is really unbelievable. But I want to put some things on the table here, because one of the things that I notice is everybody is running with these conspiracy theories about this whole thing was planned, it was plotted out. We got to use some logic here. First of all, Will Smith is already a rich black man. Okay. Second of all, Chris Rock is already rich. For those of you who think that he cashed in on this because all of a sudden his tour numbers, where the tickets are $300 or they're very expensive, that he just booked his tour. No, Chris Rock has already been on tour. This stuff was already planned out way before the Oscars. So Chris Rock was already getting involved in touring. So he's benefiting economically now because it's making the news, and a lot of people are going to the concert because they're hoping that he's going to talk about it. He's already made a statement saying that he's processing the situation and he's not going to really be using it in his routine right now. So for those who think that, it's a conspiracy, he already had a tour going on. Secondly, what would Will Smith gain? This is how it works at the Oscars. Will Smith already knew that he was going to get the Oscar. See, a lot of people I live in California. A lot of folks don't understand how the Oscars work. A lot of the people that win the Oscars, they already get the heads up that they're going to win or they may win. So Will Smith knew that this was a night that he was going to do something special. This is also an event that was produced by my frat brother, Will Parker. Will Parker, a black man, produced this. Why would a black man who has a great reputation in Hollywood want to ruin his opportunity by involving himself in some bullshit when he has a great reputation in the business? So Will Parker produced it. Then, check this out, Samuel L. Jackson. See, what Will Smith did is he took away the air from all the other great black people who did something great that night. They gave Samuel Jackson a lifetime award. We don't even know about that because this whole thing got overshadowed by the slap. Okay, you had Questlove, who was nominated, and he also won that night for the Summer of Soul concert that he put on. Fantastic documentary that he put together. We're not even talking about that because this is a distraction, which is what they wanted us to do. Distract from reality and get into fantasy talk. The bottom line is that Will Smith had nothing to gain by saying, let's come up with a plot where you say something about my wife, and let's keep this real. He did not make fun of Jada Pinkett because of her alopecia. He made a comment about G.I. Jane. Would I have made that comment? No. Do I think it was a little insensitive on his part? Yes, because he knows Will and Jada. This whole thing about him not knowing her about her condition, that's BS. Everybody knows about it. Chris Rock threw something out there. It didn't work. I don't think that they planned this, where here you have a black man that knows he's going to win the Oscar, going to walk up there, smack him, and now take away from the moment that he has in the sun. Now, in California where I'm at, the Academy is going to come out either this month or next, where they're going to decide what they're going to do with Will. That's why Will quit, because he knows that they're about to put him on a suspension for maybe 3 or 4 years, where any movie that he's in, he won't get nominated for any Academy Awards. Okay? So they're basically about to penalize him. He knows it. That's why he's saying, okay, I'm quitting the Academy, because they're about to come down on him. Another thing, for those people who believe in conspiracies, because I've seen the video, folks. When this happened, how many of you know that there was video that was leaked? It's probably already on YouTube, where you had someone in the audience who used their cell phone to film what was going on after. That means when it goes to commercial and we don't see it. and you saw Denzel Washington, Tyler Perry, people coming over to Will to console him because he was so emotional when he thought the cameras were off. And they were coming over to him, trying to calm him down, giving him hugs, getting in his ear saying, come on, man. Then Denzel, if I'm not mistaken, went over to Chris Rock to console Chris Rock as well. And then it was also reported that the LAPD here in California were prepared. For those of you who think this was some make-believe, why would you put on a make-believe and not let your producer of the show know, another brother, Will Packer? To do that, you have to put it past the people that's producing the show. 2, Chris Rock has already admitted that it was something that he said off the cuff. There was no prepared setup for this, folks. The LAPD was prepared to arrest Will Smith that night. They had protocols in the Oscar about behavior. They were looking to arrest him. They went to Chris Rock. Chris Rock refused to press the charges. They were thinking about taking action and dragging his ass out of there and arresting him for assault. Assault is serious in California. That did not take place. Oh, Will Smith refused to also leave the auditorium when asked. All this stuff was going on when the cameras were turned off and you had people who leaked video and leaked information out there. So this whole thing about this was a stage, I believe, to me personally, is bullshit. Why would a black man with his stature, what does he have to gain? Is it going to get some more? Is it going to put some more money in Will Smith's pocket? Bullshit. The man makes $12 billion a film. He's one of the highest paid black men in Hollywood. So there's nothing to gain. Chris Rock, he already is rich. Chris Rock is gaining now because his ticket sales went up, but he was already on tour. So he didn't just jump out and say, let me go on tour now. But that's not true. So there's nothing for 2 black men to gain here. Second, and this is my last point. Jada Pinkett put the batteries in his back. I know ladies are not going to like this, but she is the common denominator to the effery that he engaged in that night.
Don't do it now. You're gonna have people up at your house with stage.
Well, my sister, this is why I say that. Let's be honest. She has embarrassed him. He has also embarrassed himself with the open relationship that they have, putting their business out in the street, right? Her messing around with her son's best friend, the artist, I think we already saw the film. We already saw the video. He was laughing at the joke. He took it as it was funny. Then he looked at her. And of course, we know as a black man, when you have a black woman and she gives you that look that she's not happy, you know that you're going to have hell to pay when you go home. And black men, we want peace at home. So I think Will was put in a situation where he had to step up because his wife obviously was not happy. And he's had his manhood put into question because he's been embarrassed by his wife, who has confessed herself that Tupac was her first love. Going all the way back to Baltimore, Maryland. She's been infatuated with one Tupac. So I'm going to stop there. And I do believe that this should have never happened. I hate the fact that 2 black men did this, but I don't think that we should use this to say, personally, that this represents all black men. Because a lot of times we do this to each other in a black community. We'll say, oh, this reflects on all black people. No, it don't. It reflects on that joker and what he did for whatever reason he did it. But I'm not buying into the conspiracy theory stuff. There's nothing to gain from this. What is he going to get? A new movie deal? If anything, it could hurt him going forward in his career in Hollywood. It's only going to help Chris Rock because he's a sympathetic figure. But it's funny to me how nobody that night when this happened, other than Denzel Washington and a few black folks, there wasn't a lot of consoling of Chris Rock, who was attacked by this man who they allowed him to stay in there even after he refused to leave and give his speech where he cried. And then he tried to evoke Mr. Richards. about this whole thing about him wanting to protect. The man has problems. His mother was abused. He couldn't help her, admitted so. The women that he'd been involved with, he said he could not help them. And his marriage, which Jada Pickett contributed to breaking up his first marriage with his wife, was hard on him. His first son, the older son, is doing well in school. He's in college going to medical school. He didn't grow up in Hollywood. The other kids are unusual in their behavior because they're growing up in Hollywood. So, and we got to stop validating our success. It's my last words. We have to stop validating our success by the standards of white Hollywood and make our own standards. Thank you for giving me the time, Faith Factor.
All right. Thank you for gracing us with your pithy words of wisdom. And I concur with everything basically that Information Man has said. This is the same thing that I have been banging on myself. Now, there have been other people that have come out and they have stated that Chris Rock did nothing to help Will Smith. They say that the LAPD would not have had the authority to just step in if they wanted to and arrest Will Smith. They seem to think they don't think that Chris Rock gave Will Smith grace by not pressing charges. And that's the other issue that I have with a lot of the people that's coming out here doing this commentary is very one-sided. Not only did Chris Rock display grace, but he talked the LAPD out of arresting that man. And the LAPD, they could have of their own recognizance since it was something that happened on live TV and there are plenty of witnesses. They didn't really need Chris Rock to go over there and arrest Will Smith. But it was Chris Rock who single-handedly told them, no, please don't do that. So for all of you that's still sitting around here talking about, oh, Chris Rock didn't do nothing to help Will Smith and the state can't pick up the case. Yes, the state absolutely can pick up that case if they wanted to. They absolutely could have.
Right. I think the only thing that protects Will Smith from that happening, because if it was me and you, we would be arrested, is because we got to keep this in mind. Although they're black and black people do go through things in this country, there's still a privilege that you get when you are a celebrity. And I think because of his celebrity status, that did work in Will Favor's favor to not be dragged out of that, out of the Oscars, which was already an embarrassment what had took place already. So you're absolutely right there. And I do agree with Doug. It is Hollywood. These people are actors. Anything is possible. But I'm using logic here, and that is when people do something, Faith, I'm going to ask you this. When people do things like this, what is the end game? Is the end game to become more famous? Is the end game to get more movies because they are actors and entertainers? What would be the end game and benefit for Will to ruin a night in which it was going to be his night and he knew that? So if you know you're going to get a big reward, Faith, why would you want to put on some stunt? It doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't make any sense. The end game would not justify the means, even if he wanted to cause more, publicity to himself, because everybody thinks that even bad publicity is good publicity. In this case, this would not be the type of bad publicity that you would want. It would not propel your career. It would actually cut off a lot of connections that you were trying to make in the first place, because this is the Oscars. You're part of the Academy. So if you get ousted out of the Academy, there go your connections right there. Nobody's going to want to touch you. So it's going to do the opposite of what you were hoping.
I say this too, because I know Doug was asking me a question. We know, what does the Oscar do for people's careers? Usually when you win an Oscar, it opens up the door for more movie roles and more money, more money, more money. He's already a $20 million man per picture, last reported. Winning the Oscar last night would do nothing but boom his career further for more money, more role opportunities, and to be able to really take his shots at what he wants to do and what he does not want to do, and give him more independence, if that's even a thing in Hollywood anymore. So putting a stunt on like that where he broke the Academy rules, he actually hurts his career at the same time he's helping. Because I'm sure there's going to be people out there that's going to still want to put him in movies because people are still going to be intrigued by the fact that what he did. So people are still going to go see Will Smith movies because they're still intrigued by what he did. But it doesn't really it doesn't really help his career. And we're talking about a movie picture, a motion picture industry in California where, let's be honest, black people still don't get all the roles that we should get, and specifically black women don't get the roles that they should get. When you look at black women that have won the Oscar and they get a little bit of shine, but then it fades out, right? Black people in general, we don't get all the roles that we need. So why would Will Smith, knowing this kind of history, put himself in a position to win a reward, at the same time ruin the night? See, what we should all be talking about right now is, man, it's cool that Will Smith won that reward. It's cool what happened to Samuel Jackson. It's cool what happened to Questlove. It's cool that a black man produced these Oscars. None of us are talking about that. Why would black folks on this level want to put all that at jeopardy just to put on a skit and fake like somebody's being smacked? And if it was fake, why would the police have gotten involved? If it was a fake skit, they would have told the producers, Will Smith is going to come up on the stage and he's going to fake slap Chris Rock. And if it was a skit, they would have already come out and said that night, folks, it's a skit. It's a skit. It's not real. Why would they let this all linger on like this? Will Packer, I'm going to say it again, is the producer. He's already saying that he know that he's done with the Oscars, that he ain't going to get it again. Why would a producer want his reputation ruined in an industry where it's already hard for black people to get into anyway? And I know that the Oscar ratings are low, Brother Doug, but guess what? The ratings have been going downhill anyway because people are doing what? People spend more time on social media. And the younger generation doesn't care about these reward shows. They're into the hip hop and the other social things on media. Nobody's watching regular TV anymore. Why you think they're bringing their raggedy asses over to YouTube and taking up shop with their channels over here? Because nobody's watching regular TV anymore. Tell me something I don't know.
Facts on facts. But now I do want to go ahead and move it along to Brother Stefan, who has been patiently waiting down there. Mr. Stefan Moultrie, what do you have to say on the subject?
Hey, how you doing, Faith?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm great. Information show, that was great information.
Peace to you, brother.
I was saying to myself, may the Lord add a blessing to the reading of his word. Because that was a sermon right there.
Oh, thank you, my brother.
Faith, I just wanted to say, your monologue, great monologue. And I agreed with everything that you were saying. And I just wanted to come up and explain my comment real quick, if I may. I didn't mean any kind of disrespect about bringing up the situation about the skateboard thing, but because I think that was totally wrong, and I think that she was a victim. However, what I wanted to say was, and I'm paraphrasing here, on the part that you said that sometimes you got a lot of men that might be a little confused about what protection really is, because they're going by the definition of toxic femininity. That's what I was saying. And sometimes a lot of these boys out here might be a little hesitant on how ways to go about it. Because when they were filming it, I guess they were filming it on their phones. I don't agree with that. I think that's stupid. They probably wanted to, but didn't know how. Yeah, let me get provolone. Toasting, yes, please. Yeah, excuse me. I'm ordering the sandwich right now on my Subway.
Okay, but I still fail to understand
Hello, can you?
why would you bring up the
Yeah,
situation with the skateboard in the first place? Because that was just so off the rip of what I was describing. I was describing toxic femininity as far as Jada Pinkett Smith, like information being
absolutely,
shown said, putting that battery
absolutely.
in her husband's back. That's toxic femininity. And
Yeah,
toxic
putting it. Yeah,
masculinity
exactly,
is his response to her
exactly,
putting that battery in the back. But the girl with the skateboard was a victim all the way
absolutely. I
around.
wasn't. Yes, yes, I wasn't. Lettuce, tomatoes, red onions, and black olives. Yeah, yeah. The reason why I brought that up is not necessarily for her because I felt like yeah, she was a victim, and just like Chris Rock was a victim. She was a victim of circumstance. But I was talking about the boys that were looking on and how they were hesitant, I guess, into reacting to what was going on. Um, honey mustard.
Okay. I think I get what you're
Yeah,
saying.
that's
You're
all I
saying
was
that
saying.
the
Yeah,
guys in the background should have actually
right.
came to her defense. Is
Yeah,
that's what you're saying?
yeah. Now, if it had been me, yeah, it was absolutely. And how they were hesitant into, I guess, reacting because they didn't want to react like a Will Smith in that situation. You see what I'm saying? And and a lot of ladies they talking about protection, protection, protection. I'm like, okay. I think sometimes their protection means just reaction, not necessarily protection. Now, let me get the meal, brother.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let you go ahead and
Yeah, but
finish
I just wanted
ordering.
to.
I'm gonna let you finish ordering, and I'm gonna get back to the commentary, my brother. But thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you go ahead.
All right.
All right.
So
Faith, I'm going to drop off, but keep doing your thing over here. Um, man, I need to ask you this question before I drop off because I said this on the show that I did about Will too. Because Will, okay, we kind of grew up seeing Will as sort of this softy kind of guy. This is where we get it. This is where we get it. Because I was talking about Tupac, because I remember seeing Tupac in the streets of Oakland growing up. We get it twisted. We look at Will Smith as sort of soft guy because of his music, but a lot of people don't know his backstory. The dude grew up very on a hard side of the mountain in Philadelphia, and he had a different style of music that we kind of looked at that as okay, he's a softy. And I think that's one reason why everyone was also shocked at what Will did, because we always saw him as this sort of beta male type dude, softy, he plays it straight down the line. And then he gets with Jada, and it seems like ever since they've been together for quite some time, that there's been a lot of goofy stuff coming out of that camp. I want to get your opinion on this. Do you think that part of Will Smith's problem, along with the things that he's gone through with his personal trauma, because we've all been through trauma, that part of it is the common denominator of his wife currently now, Jada, that maybe he needs to take inventory and get her out of his life? I know it's not a popular thing to say because they're married. They've said several times that they're going to stick together no matter what, and that's powerful. But I really believe that she has been poisoned for Will in so many ways. And I'm not saying that to say that black women are poison. So I don't want people taking it out of context. I'm talking about this particular woman that he's with has been poison to him in an embarrassing way, in the way that they have decided to conduct their personal life that they have thrown out there personally. And I'm not saying that Will is innocent, because Will has been doing things behind the scenes too. But you notice when they went on the red table, he admitted that they had some type of agreement about what each other do, but not to let it come out in the streets. and then her situation with August came out. Personally, that's the time to start whooping somebody's ass when you got a young man who's supposed to be the friend of your son messing with your wife. That's the time you start knocking somebody out. Or when you are what's that brother Terry Crews or whatever his name, the brother that was with his wife, and he let in the movie producer groped him, Terry Crews or whatever his name. He got groped right in front of his wife in his private areas. That's the time you come out swinging, black man. Or when someone puts their hands on your wife physically.
One thing I want to say to let Faith answer this question. Have y'all noticed when that thing happened to Terry Crews, what really happened to his career after that? I don't see him do much movies after that. Have y'all?
Well, he's still doing movies. He's just not a box office star. He doesn't have that box office appeal. He's still doing movie. I believe that he didn't fight back because he didn't want to hurt his movie career, because the guy that did that to him, who's had his issues, was very powerful. And we know the rest. He's gotten himself in some trouble. But the question I really want to get from Faith before I drop off is, do you think that Jada Pinkett Smith is an impediment to Will Smith, and that he might be better off to get her out of his life?
No, I'll say this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me go ahead and answer this real quick, because I have a lot to say about this. She has been an impediment to his life, and Will just does not have the courage and the strength to walk away from her for whatever reason. And see, I knew that Jada was toxic when she preyed upon that young man, because I think that the young man, August, that she was with, I think he had a medical condition, a life-threatening illness, where he was going through something in his life. And she used that as a segue to get into that boy's life, because she was sitting up there talking about, she wanted to be there for him. No, that was a predatory move from a witch. And she knows which men to pick. She knows how to pick them. She picks these men at their very low points. And then she calls herself nurturing and helping them, but all she's doing is helping herself. And that's what she's been doing. She did that with Will Smith. Will Smith, like you said, he was a very soft-spoken guy from Philly. He wasn't the type of guy that just jump out, and do gangsters type stuff. And she saw that about him, and she saw him as an easy mark. And that's the reason why she married him. Now, her real love was truly Tupac.
X.
And I submit to you today that Will Smith has been living in a dead man's shadow in this marriage for 25 years.
Facts. I know the history because I'm from Baltimore, Maryland originally. My mom grew up and knew her family, and they went to, Tupac. This is another thing. Tupac never really was trying to live a thug life. Folks, I'm here to tell you, I'm here to bust your bubble. All of that was all marketing for his music. He originally wanted to be an actor. Matter of fact, Tupac was classically trained in acting with her at the School of the Arts in Baltimore, Maryland. Then Tupac lived in New York for a little while. Then he came to the Bay Area, lived in a place called, let me bust y'all bubble, because I know this because I used to see him. Lived in a place called Marin, right next to San Francisco. Marin is a very well-to-do county, but where he lived at, there was a housing project area in Marin. Then he got with Digital Underground in Oakland, and nobody knew who Tupac was, and he wasn't walking around acting like a thug. He was a dancer and a hype man in Digital Underground in Oakland. That's how he got his start. Like a lot of people got their start in music back in the 80s and 90s by being dancers, hype men, and being roadies. They call it being a roadie. That's how Tupac got started. And at that time, he wasn't walking around acting like or putting a projection of thug life out there. The man really wanted to be an actor. He had lots of talents, not to mention the fact that he had family in the Black Panther Party, and he also really wanted to be more into that type of Black First type of stuff. And then once he got into the music business, into gangster rap and got around Suge Knight and all of that, that's when all this other stuff started to come about. But people always try to lock Tupac to the thug image, and I'm telling you, that's not who Tupac really was. If you look at his background, the people he was around, that really wasn't who he was. And she always was in love with that part of Tupac, in love with him. And I think it's like this. Faith Factor, you know this is true. Isn't it true that women know, even when they have a man that they're in love with, that does it for them, you know whether that man is not father or family material. She knew that Will Smith was more family oriented.
Absolutely.
And had Tupac never been taken out of this planet, there's a chance that she could have married Tupac.
Well, Tupac, like you said, you made a very good point. Tupac was not marriage material. Now, you do remember when Tupac was taken to court because of a young woman that got assaulted on his tour.
Facts.
And you do remember what Tupac did. Tupac didn't do anything to help that young lady. He
right,
did
but
not help that young woman.
Right, but yet we as black people, and this is not popular what I'm going to say, we as black people, not all black people, but some of us, we have mythologized Tupac as this tough guy that and you even got black people today probably saying out there in the atmosphere, well, if she was with Tupac, you know Tupac would have got up there. And Tupac had a history that wasn't too pleasant too when it came to women, but nobody wants to talk about that.
Facts. Tupac did nothing to help that young lady in that situation where she was gang raped, and this was under the watchful eye of Tupac. Tupac actually saw the men going into the room. She was actually originally there to be with him. And Tupac allowed these other men to go into that room and sexually assault this lady, and he did nothing. So, I hate to burst everybody's bubble and fantasy of their ghetto Negro hero Tupac, but that is the absolute facts on the situation regarding him and his chivalry, his lack of chivalry.
Well, you got to understand, Tupac is a square, and it's expected because if you look at his background, even I find out that there was some videos now of his actual biological father that could have played a role in his life, but the mother had a different issue. We're not going to go into that because not meant for the show. But we got to be honest that this man is a real true artist, and he has learned from the best. You get me? It's just the music was more the foundation because that's where things were going. And you think about it, that's when the rise of gangster rap started to really take up, especially NWA around 1988-89. Same time Tupac started coming around music. So he followed the trends, which was really excellent at that time. So, like I said, he takes advantage of the opportunity when needed to perpetuate where he needs to go. Even when he first did his first movie back in 1991, I forgot what it was. It's a little short gangster. That's slipped my mind. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? That really set the foundation of what he really wanted to do.
Right.
You get me? Because really, you watch that movie, that really gave him the persona that he's a true gangster, especially in that film. Right.
But the problem, though, Chaos, is that some of us, not all, but some of us black people, we have mythologized. I had a conversation with someone about this on YouTube. We have mythologized Tupac as putting him on the same pedestal with someone like a Malcolm X without taking the time to do inventory on what did this dude really do that puts him on the level of a Malcolm X or a Dr. King, that we put his picture up on the wall next to those folks. And we say, yeah, Tupac was a revolutionary. Yes, he did have family members that were revolutionary. He did have a stepfather that was in prison that he was visiting who was telling him to not go down. This is another thing. His stepfather, who was in prison, that was a Black Panther member, was trying to tell Tupac not to go down the road that he was going with his music. But Tupac didn't listen. And because he did have songs like Dear Mama that touched our heart, and he had a few songs here and there that could resonate with us in terms of positive songs versus the gangster stuff, We have somehow gravitated towards a man who was in and out of prison for things that were goofy stuff that he was doing, and we have mythologized him as being a black Jesus in the rap music, and that he's someone that we should look up to and reveal. And then when something like this happens with Will Smith, we'll say that, well, Tupac is more of a man than Will Smith was, because when he came out with his music, he wasn't cussing up a storm. And we sort of laughed at Will Smith because he wasn't projecting the gangster image that actually killed Tupac. You see, when life imitates, reality can imitate life. Life can imitate the art form that he was involved in, and him living in that lifestyle got him ultimately killed. And I'm going to say this is not very popular because people mythologize that with the whole conspiracy theory. Did the LAPD have something to do with it? One can make an inference that they probably did, maybe did. They were watching him, they were monitoring him. But the bottom line is Tupac got himself caught up in gang activity. In California, you had the Bloods and you had the Crips. He got killed over gang stuff. He got involved with a record label that was drenched in gang activity. He got killed just like any black man on the streets who gets killed getting involved in gang shit. If Tupac was so gangster, why is it that after he died, we find out that he didn't own the cars that he was driving, he didn't own the home that he was living in, that he kept going to Suge Knight asking about his royalties and never got his royalties? And when his mother died, this show you the bullshit. When his mother died and she was looking for his masters, Suge Knight shunned her. Everybody in the rap game didn't do anything to help his mother when she was alive, trying to get his masters. So that show you right there that there's no love. There was no love for Tupac, because if there was, his mother shouldn't have had to run around begging for help to get his masters and finding out he had no money.
Facts on facts. Now, there is one question that I wanted to get to, and I guess it was at all of us here on the panel, but it was from Mela too. I'm trying to find the comment again, but she was basically asking us why it seems like we hate Jada Pinkett Smith so much. Here it is. Why do you guys seemingly hate Jada so much? Anybody want to tackle that first?
I'll just say this in a short term. You judge a tree by the fruit. Why does it seem that we're hating on, why do guys seemingly hate on Jada so much? I'll say in just a couple words short. You judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. You look at Jada's track record, the things that she has done, not that we're making up, the things that she has put out in the media, the behavior, and you go based on not what a person says, but you base your opinion about them based on what they do in their behavior. And I think her behavior thus far speaks for itself.
All right. Thank you.
Can you repeat the question? I want to hear the question again from you, Faith.
Basically, Mela was asking the men, why do guys seem to hate Jada Pinkett Smith so much? And also shout out to Trink's boy for the $10 super chat. I appreciate it. So Chaos, can you answer that? Do you hate Jada Pinkett Smith?
Hate is such a strong word, but I would say from what I don't like is, be honest, she is not an honorable woman. If things were going so bad, and sex is the determinant factor of everything, then like everything, like most women do, especially in America, because women divorce for record side differences, you should end it there. Why still tag along as something you feel is the most essential part of this relationship? My assumption is because he lets you do what you want to do. And I'm going to project this, and hear me good. This year marks their 25 years they've been legally married. If this marriage lasts another 5 years, going on 30, I will be shocked, but won't be surprised. And once it touches that, if it ever does touch that, I think, depending how this outcome is, regardless how we look at either conspiracy or not, that she has enough now to say I could probably cash in now and do what the hell I want now. I can't do it now because I'm getting as much as I want. I'm stringing this along. Because if you listen, Faith, he said he's not divorcing. His first wife divorced her, and and told him why. And she did him a favor. And I think he has not recovered from that. He jumped to another relationship and said, if I get married, I'm sticking it out. I don't care. I got to do whatever is necessary to make her happy. And I think this is a good testament from Will, because now once you go through it, and this is going to come to pass, that you have lived roughly almost 30 years. Out of 30 years, you had 2 and possibly maybe 2 marriages. That you know as a man that to move further in your life and career, because your career is going to still go on. Now, how much more you're going to make after this, we don't know. We got to sit back and see. But no one's saying that you left a legacy and a story amongst yourself. And for your better growth moving forward as a man, because you're going to be in this earth for like another 20 or so years, that you're going to have to make the best of this. And it should be tested to every other man that what we should and should not do, and we should not accept overall. That's why when they talk about the man, sir, yeah, it does have its importance for certain degrees. You get me? And a lot of men got to understand that, and if you do, you better have some standards and stand for yourself that what you're going to allow and accept. And if it needs to be, if you decide to get married or not, you're going to have to sit there and cut the ties. Because this is going to be toxic throughout your development and what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to do as a being throughout your life. And there's certain things we should not allow. And trust me, Faye, you know a lot of men, we take a lot of crap, bro. And we sit by it. And I think those days are going to be done very soon. Because young you and other people are watching this. And they're saying, I can't go for this. I won't allow myself to go over this. Oh, no, no, no. We all know Jay is a monster herself because, she's from B-More. And that's just one woman from a state, which, every woman's different. But this woman is kind of unique. And that, she is able to have the, I guess, American dream experience to do what the hell she wants, control her outcomes, and still have the purse, or I say the wallet, to support it. A lot of women dream to have this, Faith. This is why they live vicariously of Jada, regardless if they want to admit it or not. You know firsthand, Faith, because you hear the reactions of women. They have no problem with Jada's doing.
Yeah, that's the problem that I have with Black women. And I'm going to say this, and I think that this is a perfect time to end the stream on this note, and I'm going to get everybody's final thoughts, and then we're going to close it out. But I will say this as a Black woman, I have other Black women have come at me pretty hard for taking the stance that I have taken against Jada Pinkett Smith. I've had Black women come to me and say that I'm jealous of Jada Pinkett Smith. And here's the thing. I am not jealous of a person that I have never met. But what I am is I am looking at this person's life who they themselves put on display. And I am using my discernment and judging that person's actions. Now, the actions of Jada Pinkett Smith as a mother is deplorable. I would never, ever have an affair on my husband, who has been taking care of me and my children, let alone have an affair with my son's best friend. So now you have hit 2 men in your life that you supposedly are supposed to be loving, and you're supposed to be nurturing and being caring wife and mother for. What did your son do to you? Even if you were mad at your husband and trying to get back at him, but what did your son do to you? So this is the reason why Faith takes the stance that she takes against Jada. It's not no jealousy or any of this other stuff that a lot of you women like to throw out there. And once again, these are shaming and deflecting tactics to try to get me to be quiet about my feelings, because I am not part of the sisterhood club that wants to just look the other way when Black women are behaving badly. I don't do that. But I do want to go ahead and close it out with that. But that's my personal thoughts on that, ladies. And I'm talking to the Black women in particular. We have got to stop with this pack mentality that every time one of us gets attacked, that all of us are worthy of protecting. There is no protection for Jada in this situation. She just isn't worth it, even in the sisterhood, for protection because of the egregious things that she has done to her family. And as a wife and as a mother myself, I cannot subscribe to that type of thinking, and I would not endorse a woman like Jada. Now, on the flip side, if Jada Pinkett Smith found herself in a situation where she was in imminent danger, she needed help because her life was in danger, I'm not saying that she doesn't deserve protection. Any person on a human level, that's any woman on a human level that's in that situation deserves protection. But as far as like running up and windmilling for her honor, there's no honor to protect here. And that's what I would love for Black women to once and for all get. You guys are not, you guys don't understand the assignment when it comes to that. But I'm going to go ahead and let you guys have the final word, starting with Mr. Chaos Ring. What are your final thoughts?
I think I laid out from what my overall perspective of it again on this channel. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do any further content of this. The only thing, if I'm going to attain this, is what the Oscar is going to really do in regards to real punishment for this. Now, obviously, like how I see it is they're going to be soft with it a little bit, because like I said, the way how they structure, ironically, regardless how we look at ratings or not, is very questionable. And now I gotta see the backlash to really see if this is really could stick in, if it's real, because I'll be honest with you, I don't really watch TV like that, to be fair and honest. And what these actors do, they make their money regardless. I think The Rock is the highest paying actor right now, but I gotta double check because I know when they talk between certain Black people, Black men, is either him or Will, but I'm not gonna go into that. So overall, we just gotta sit back and see. I tell people personally, don't invest more time in this because there's a great distraction ahead. This got a lot of people's attention now for the last few days, and there are things that's going on behind closed doors that we don't know personally. I mean, I know there was one bill of the lynching bill that was proposed and signed, I think this week, and a lot of things that was put on the rug. And my thing is this: these bills are nice, but if no one's there to enforce it, it's irrelevant. And obviously, with Black people, let's keep it real. When the world look at Black people, they look at mostly Black Americans. They get the perception of reality for what they see through television. That's the end of the story. The Jumbotron rules the order of what people are and how they act. And if they see us moving a certain way, they get the perception. That's what they get, especially if you come straight from any part of America. It is what it is. It's come with territory. I don't like it, but that's how they structure it. It's our role as people to really remove ourselves from these the perception of what we are, and we're gonna have to probably have our own media outlet just to push back, because we could push back over this nonsense, but it's gonna take work. And I think our people either willing to do the work or not. It needs to be done anyway, because things like this is a mark against pretty much all of us. Thank you, Faith.
All right. Chaos
Oh, and
Ring.
I wrote some in the back chat, but thank you.
Oh, okay. I saw that. And thank you so much for coming. And please do come again. And now I want to go ahead and move on to Mr. Information Man. I really am honored to have you here on the show. And you really rocked it out today. So many facts were dropped today. So I just want to go ahead and get your final thoughts on the situation, because I know you're going to take it home and you're going to do it very, very well. So what are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts is that let's keep in mind that we should not judge the Black community by celebrity or Hollyweird. What Will Smith did, he did of his own influence by his wife, the circumstances being what they were. But I don't think it's a reflection on the Black community or Black men, or even what Jada's been doing is a reflection on all Black women. That's why I emphasize specifically this particular woman has been poisoned. There is no incentive for Will Smith to get up there, hit another Black man, when they're wearing their Sunday's best. There was no incentive when the man already has a reputation. Will Smith does not have, he has a good reputation, and Will Smith does not have a track record of just going off on people. He does not have that track record. So this is a moment I thought that was very organic. He got caught up in the emotions of the moment because of his wife and how she felt. But, let me bust this one on you, Faith Factor. Someone just sent me, just yesterday, I don't know why I didn't bring this up before. There is a video that was leaked, an audio on what Jada told before she got slapped by before the slapping of Chris Rock. There's a YouTube audio that leaks. So you have to wonder, what was the real motive of Jada Pinkett? Was she really disturbed by what Chris Rock said? There's also video of her out there with her talking about how she doesn't care about what people think about her hair, her baldness, or any of these things. It isn't what you think it is, folks. This whole thing that she was so taken back by what Chris Rock said, keep in mind, he made statements that she didn't like back in 2016 when her husband, Will, and her protest the Oscars. Remember Oscars So White tagline? And I agree with that. I agree with the protest. And Chris Rock had some goofy things to say about that. So there's probably been, allegedly, something boiling under the surface between her and Chris Rock, going back to when she may have not liked what he said right there. And of course, Will Smith. All that is bottled up in this stuff as well. But there is a video that has a different camera angle. And I think if I can, I'm pulling it off from my phone right now. What I'm going to do, just give me a little time to find this right now. I'm going to drop the link if I can. Well, I can't drop the link.
Well, you
See,
you can
I can't. I can't drop it if. Okay. This is what I'm going to do. Thank you. This is what I'm going to do. I'm on my computer here. Here it is. The leaked audio on what Jada told Will before slapping Chris. Y'all need to hear this. So let me pop this up on my screen. We're going to stop this right here. If you could allow me to share, I'll share this on the screen. Let me go back into here. I'll hit my share screen. Share screen. Hit the audio portion. The leaked audio. There we go. And I'm going to expand this so that we can see further. Boom. Can everyone see that now? Okay. Faith, do I have your permission to hit play?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, here we go. This is the leaked audio of what she said before Will did what he did. This is leaked audio. Here we go.
Who's got the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win. He is praying that Will Smith wins.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
Got into an entanglement with.
It's different.
August, that's what I said.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm out here. Oh.
That's terrible.
All right, let me stop that there. I don't think.
Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
All right, I'm going to stop that right there. So I don't think that was exactly. Let me see this. Stop this. I'm going to stop that right there. Let me pull myself off of here. So I don't think that was exactly what I was expecting. But when he walked up, just for the purpose of the punch, when he walked up and punched, did that punch seem fake to you?
No, it didn't seem fake to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that part of the video wasn't what I was expecting, so I apologize for that. But that punch right there did not seem like he staged it.
No, it wasn't staged. I don't think any of it was staged. When he initially did the joke, Will Smith was laughing right along with everybody in the audience. It wasn't until he looked over at his wife that it became a thing. It looked like Jada did kind of, put that battery in his back, give him that signal like, hey, we gonna have problems after this show.
Right.
Because this wasn't supposed to be funny.
Exactly. Now, let me ask you this question, because I think this was put out there. Do you believe that Chris Rock purposely said, let me say this joke because I want to make her look, I want to make her look completely bad, when we already know that comedians, especially at the Oscars in general, they do make jokes at people in the crowd? And he has made jokes about Denzel. Matter of fact, that same night, he did make jokes about other celebrities in the audience.
I had to go and give my daughter her phone because it was going off there. All right, what did I miss?
I was saying, do you believe that Chris Rock purposely decided, I'm going to go after Jada and make her look bad, when prior to that joke, he was already making jokes at other celebrities in the audience, and we know that this is what comedians do, even if we don't always agree with their joke?
Well, absolutely. Now, I did the clip that you just showed. I saw that. He was roasting everybody in that front row. If you're going to a show, especially like a comedy show, or if there's an event where there's a comedian there, that is their job. It's called crowd work. And when they do crowd work, they're going to pretty much go along that front row to the people that paid the most money for their tickets, because when you pay the most money for your tickets to sit at that front row, you expect to be able to interact with the comedian at some point. I've done it myself when I have gone to comedy shows. I paid to sit on the front row because I want to be part of the show. And I know that there's a chance that the comedian might, add me into the show or say something funny about me. And that's the interaction that I want. And that's what I paid for. So when people go to the comedy shows and they sit on that front row, that's what you have to expect. And it was other people in that room that he was giving that work to. So Will and Jada Pinkett Smith, they were not just the only ones that were singled out. But it just seems as if it was that way because of how Will reacted to it. Everybody else laughed. He moved on with his show. He would have moved on in that situation.
Right. That's what comedians do. When you sit in the front, you become a part of the show. It happened to me when I was in college. This is a good story here. When I was in college, this is before, this was Mark Curry, who's from Oakland. This was Jamie Foxx before he blew up. I met Jamie Foxx before he blew up, everybody, when he was just coming off of Living Single, Success. He came to our college and he performed, and my organization, we were involved in doing security, for the place, making sure everything is in order. And I just happened to be standing or in the area up front near the stage area, or, in the audience. And what happened? Mark Curry talked about me, talked about other people, and made his jokes. This is the security, And I didn't take it personal because I, know that that's what comedians do. It was a part of the show. We were at college having a good time. Nobody said, okay, let me go back there and let me attack Jamie Foxx. Matter of fact, after the show, he shook my hand. We talked a little bit. This is before he got big. And nobody took it all serious. We understood what this was all about. So, same thing with the Oscars. comedians every year roast people in the front seats. Will was going along with it. Jada said, oh, hell no. And that's the bottom line. Now, check this out, Faith. Men should protect their women. We should give you protection. But shouldn't our women not put us in situations that can A, hurt our careers? If no one's putting physical hands on you, you shouldn't put us in a situation that is bad for not only me and you as well. Shouldn't women not put us in situations that can put us in jail or put us in a bad circumstance if it isn't a situation a life and death circumstance?
I'm gonna answer that because I've said this before in my previous videos that I put out on this Information Man show. Absolutely not. I would not put my son in that situation. I would not put my husband or my boyfriend in that situation because I would be thinking of the big picture. Okay, this person was rude. They hurt my feelings, but is it enough for me to want my son or my husband to lay hands on this person, which is against the law, and get them landed in jail, get them in trouble with their job, and a whole slew of other consequences? Because every choice, and these are about choices, every choice that you make has a consequence, whether it's good or bad. And I always try to avoid the bad. Thinking people always do. Now, the appropriate reaction would be for your man to stand up for you by using his words, but not his fists, not his hands. It should never, ever get to a point where it becomes violent because of words.
Right. I think a man's duty is to protect his woman, his children, his home. If there's a life-threatening situation, yes. This is my take on it as well. Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, they know Chris Rock. To me, I don't understand why he could not have gone behind the curtains in the green room and confronted Chris Rock and said, man, I want you to give a public apology to my wife. Because that would have showed poise. That would have showed that he's a classic man. That if he would have went up to Will, if Will would have went up to him and said, I want you to come out and apologize publicly to my wife because of her medical condition, I would think that Will Smith would have enough capital with Chris Rock to be able to do the manly thing to talk to him, since it wasn't as if Chris Rock physically attacked his wife. Now, if he physically attacked her, now all bets are off. But why couldn't he have done that? And you see, what could have happened if he would have did that is that Will could have turned it around and made himself look the bigger man, because then he could have made Chris Rock come out and apologize. And now we would be talking about Will Smith being poised. And then we would be talking about Chris Rock shouldn't have said it. And we're glad that he came out and apologized. You see, that's how men should conduct themselves when it's someone, especially that you know, that you've hung out with. These guys have hung out with each other.
All right. So Doug says at Information Man show, if that was real, what you said would have made sense, but this was staged and doesn't make any sense.
Okay. Well, we're going to see. At the end of the day, let's be honest. The only people, which is why I brought up the fact that there is leaked footage. I think Roland Martin played it on his show, the leak footage. He also said that he got in contact with some of these folks that he knows in the business, and they told him that they thought that it was fake too. And then they realized later on that it wasn't what they thought. But at the end of the day, the only people that know what's the truth are the people that were in that theater that night. The people that were involved in this whole situation, they're the only ones that know whether it's true or not. At the end of the day, and we'll see how this all plays out. I personally don't think it was fake, because the Academy is taking action. Police were called that night. Will Packer, the producer of the show, said he was very not happy about what took place, and he thinks it's his end. It's in for him. Ain't gonna be no more Oscar productions for him. There's too many other players involved that are saying that it had an impact on them. And another thing, when Will was telling him to keep his wife's name out of his effing mouth, take a look at the actress that was in the Black Panther. She had this look on her face like, uh-oh, this is getting real. See, even though they're actors, it just seemed too real to me. When you look at her expression, did you notice that, Faith Factor? Her expression?
Well, look at the fact that if this was not real and this was all staged, why even go through the motions of calling together the Academy to vote on whether or not you should do something about the actions of this person?
Right.
Why would the LAPD be called into the situation
Right.
to escort Will out? There's a lot of things at play here. You have a lot of people coming out with reactions to what they saw happen. And like you said, there were people that were at the awards show after the cameras are off. They're still, in what do you call it, in character after the cameras are off? I don't think so.
No. I had a chance to see that footage, and I saw Tyler Perry, and Denzel Washington, and you could tell that the hugs and the consoling was legitimate. And then people didn't know this, like I said before. Denzel tried to comfort Chris Rock as well. So the question is, if this was a hoax, that means that Will Smith and Chris Rock just punked everybody in Hollywood. Why would you do that? That could hurt your career. They could be like, I ain't messing with you. You played with our emotions. We thought you really were hurt by Will. Will, we thought you were really angry by what he said. See, why would they risk that? You got everybody that's who's who in Hollywood. You're going to punk everybody like that and do a charade? And you're going to do it to people like Denzel and people like Tyler Perry and other black folks that night who didn't get any shine on them because you guys did this? Come on now. Matter of fact, Faith, do you know Questlove is from Philadelphia, where Will is from, and they tried to ask Questlove that night when he got his Oscar, his opinions about the Will Smith situation. Do you know that to this date, Questlove refuses to talk about it because it impacted him on so much? It impacted his shine that night. Do you hear what I'm saying to you?
Exactly. And people are sitting up here, they're talking about it's a scam and all this type of stuff, and we have to stop being gullible. But I think that we have to stop dismissing everything. We're very dismissive as a people. Just the same way as we're dismissive of Chris Rock being a victim, you guys are dismissive of this entire situation, and that's problematic.
That's because we have allowed ourselves, some of us, to be bamboozled by conspiracy theory. You notice, Faith, that every time, why is it this, look, check this out. Why is it that every time we hear about a black person, a black celebrity passing away or someone dying, it's always got to be a conspiracy? Why can't it be that they just freaking died?
Oh my God, that really gets on my nerve. I'm sick and tired of all the conspiracy theories, by the way. Everything is not a conspiracy. Everything is not the Illuminati. That also gets on my nerve with that whole Illuminati talk, all these rituals and all this type of stuff. Sometimes it just is what it is. And there's nothing else to it. With black people, I don't know what it is that we have this fascination with witchcraft. We have this fascination with conspiracies. It's fairy tales. We are really into fairy tales, and we're very, very how can I say, we're removed from reality most of the time as a group. That's very problematic. Very.
Right. Well, That's because we only get the one-dimensional side of things. We don't get the three-dimensional side, and we go with story. It sounds more exciting to say that this person died because they gave a blood oath to this and that and all of that. I'm telling you, at the end of the day, not every time you hear about something happening to somebody is because it was some kind of plot. Sometimes people just die, folks, from diseases and conditions that they already had that maybe you didn't even know about. Because not everybody's going to tell you all their medical business. So, exactly. But Faith, thank you for letting me come on board. I appreciate it. This was great bill here, and we'll hopefully do it again.
All right, and I will definitely love to have you. And please, whenever you have a show, I will definitely grace your platform as well. Information Man has lots of interesting topics and perspectives over at his channel, so make sure that you guys hit the link. I do believe Doug dropped it earlier.
Yeah, Doug is a great he's a moderator on my channel. Oh, this is what I need to put out there. I'm promoting. I definitely, for the ladies and the men in the chat room, please come over to my show tomorrow. I'll be going on at a more decent time. I don't know, normally last night was different for me. My audience they love more of my Sunday streams. Tomorrow I'm going to be interviewing two brothers. It's called The Great Black Detox. This brother is deep. We're going to be talking about black health, products that you should stay away from, things when it comes to women's menstrual cycles. There's things that we're eating in our diet that is throwing off your body chemistry for black men and for black women. They're going to get into that. They're going to get into really deep stuff. So I would employ everyone over here and those listening to this on the replay. I'll be going live on the Information Man show at 2 p.m., around 2 to 2:30 p.m. Western time. That would be 5 o'clock Eastern time and around 4 o'clock Central time. I'm bringing these two guests on, and they know what the hell they're talking about. I'm going to sit back and let them just pop the knowledge to you. I would suggest that people take a pad and a pen, take notes, because they're going to tell you some stuff that's really going to blow you away. Very important for us as black people to really be on top of our health from a black perspective. The black body and our melanin operates different from a European body, and we need to understand that. Thank you, Faith.
All right. Thank you, Information Man, and please do come again. All right, guys, that is the show. I really got to go. I went longer than I thought I was going to go with this. I had no idea that it was going to be such a titillating conversation. But everybody that came up here on the panel, I want to say shout out to Chaos Rain. He's always first when it comes to these panel discussions. Shout out to Stefan Moultrie. Yeah, I did have to time you out because we don't do the B word in my chat. Okay, so I had to time you out. And shout out to the Information Man show. He came and dropped some bombs, didn't he? Great discussion. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with my brand. You know how I do. I love all of you. Peace. And I'm out.